to the Cotton Club Radio. I'm your host, Cotton Club. Today's conversation is a very important conversation to me because it's close and dear to my spirit. So I'm going to call this episode Protect Your Energy. Before I go down and deep and breaking this subject down, I just want to express to the family what energy means to me. Energy is quantitative, which means it can be measured. It's transferable and dynamic. It is a source of power and has the ability to change things. It has different forms: electric energy, you have chemical energy, radiant, light, thermal, heat, sound, nuclear. And the most important is spiritual and supernatural energy. Energy and spirituality are intertwined, family. We can see this oftentimes when we sense intentions of others simply by the way we feel their energy. So it's important to protect your energy by any means, because there will always be something or some greater source that's willing to drain your energy spiritually, physically, and mentally. One of the most prevalent sources of energy draining is social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We often encounter trolls and paid actors and political shills. So we have to be mindful of the energy we choose to engage with. When we're living in a time where our country is divided and there are people online who are taking advantage of this, whether it be causing gender wars, throwing fuel onto the fire of racial conflicts, political shaming, diaspora wars, and just straight up gaslighting. This gets me to an experience of an energy draining situation that made me really sketch out this whole concept of protecting my energy. For people who know me, I'm all about energy. I come from a culture of Black Americans who our grandparents and great grandparents and mothers and fathers and uncles are very good with reading people spiritually. People who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. For an example, you can bring a friend home to a Black American household and right away, your people will know if the individual is good or not. Don't get it twisted. They'll treat that person like family when they're there. But when they go, they're going to let you know what the real is. They'll pull you to the side and say, man, watch out for this person. Watch out for this dude, or watch out for this female. She kind of off, or he's kind of off. And you may be young and naive, and you may not be able to see it at that time because you don't have those supernatural powers at that time. But your folks do. So you get to learn about energy very early in the game in a Black American household, and we're very spiritual. We come from a very church orientated background, and that's another form of spirituality. But getting back to this protecting your energy. So because I'm online more often, promoting my YouTube channel and just trying to get engagement, I'm noticing an onslaught of anti-Black American hate content on TikTok that seems to be allowed and sanctioned and incentivized by platforms, some on YouTube and X. What's most interesting is that the content isn't just coming from the expected alt-right and white supremacist groups. It's also coming from many Black immigrants. And that threw me because, I come from a place where I grew up around a lot of different culture. I grew up around a lot of Hispanics. I grew up around a lot of Caribbean people. I've gotten love from both sides. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of the Caribbean people I grew up with, I consider them family. Many of them were as Americanized as me. You understand? And they gave me a lot of love. And I'm very fortunate to have grown up around a lot of people like them. Hispanic, vice versa. But I'm noticing a lot of anti-Black American hate content on social media, but the talking points are not like the people I grew up around. This seems like a generation detached. I'm noticing a lot of videos online with a lot of Black immigrants, many from the diaspora, some from the UK. I've seen some from Africa. Spewing similar anti-Black American sentiments as the alt-right. A lot of these anti-Black sentiments seem to be aimed at drawing a cultural divide. One of the talking points that went viral that I saw was from a Black immigrant female. I think she was from the UK. And her statement was inflammatory, and right away, it offended me right off the bat. It said, Black people in America wouldn't survive without white people. Now, I know that to be a silly statement, but that wasn't the problem, right? Because we all can sense when people are just being silly, idiotic, or just being uneducated. What bothered me is that this video had like 100,000 views. So now we're not just dealing with someone who's just spreading misinformation and propaganda, but this person is just spewing wild, crazy stuff and getting views off of it. So right off the bat, I knew right away that one, this person was an agent, provocative, like a person who's just getting paid to just spew madness, or this is a person who has zero knowledge about Black American culture. So I said, you know what? If people are willing to spew this kind of rhetoric out into the universe, then it is within my obligation to correct it, So I want to take this time out. And I know a lot of my listeners know these things, but this is for the people who don't know these things. Because a statement like that must be checked. You understand? To the tune of Black Americans wouldn't survive in the U.S. without white people. I want to talk to that girl, whoever you are, in hopes that maybe this video will maybe get to you one day so you can be properly educated. Let me just go down the timeline and just roll some facts to people like you and to your viewers. You have to understand, there's a period in American history called Reconstruction and segregation. And in both eras, Black folk were able to create hundreds of successful Black sufficient enclaves and communities across the United States. These consisted of Black churches, Black schools, Black banks, Black grocery stores, Black hospitals, and Black infrastructure, Black architecture. And let me add this, all of which was done without white people or the assistance of white people. So the history of Black people being self-sufficient in America is very rich. You have towns like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, Wilmington, North Carolina, Rosewood in Florida, all prosperous, beautiful neighborhoods consisting of well-to-do Black people. Not to mention that there was almost a Black bank in every state. You had the Freedmen's Bureau, where Black folk were starting to invest and learn more about financial freedom. This was very important. From multiple generations of being in bondage, this was the first generation of free Black people. You understand what I'm saying? So many of them had ambition to want to do better. So the idea that they needed some white savior is blasphemous. That don't even make sense. I'm going to just go further. What didn't really make sense to me, because this could easily be debunked. I knew that right away. Anyone with ears would hear something like that and say, man, that could be debunked. That don't even sound right. But what bothered me the most is that why would a Black person say something like that? Like, we get it. There are some, racist people out here who have a very low understanding about Black people and what we've accomplished in this country. So I wanted to just dig deeper and maybe get into the mind of a person a melanated person who would say something like that. Then it hit me. Many of these people who talk like that, who say things like that, Black people wouldn't be nothing without white people. See, many of these people come from different cultures than ours. We gotta keep it funky. We gotta keep it real, family. Many of these people are coming from foreign cultures, where they idolize whiteness. They pedestalize whiteness. They come from cultures where it's not a lot of white people there. Most of the people look like them. So when white people come around, they roll out the red carpet. When white people come around, they see money coming, or if they have Christianity, they see white Jesus coming, So we just come from two different cultures. So the statement of Black people wouldn't survive without a white people, it's a statement that Black people don't use because we know it to be blasphemous. Black Americans don't use. So I knew right away that it was a projection. These people were basically projecting their infinity for whiteness onto us. And to be honest with you, I had to dig deeper and find out, okay, what is this really about? And then it opened itself up. A lot of these people are profiting off of hate views, family. That's what it is. So they'll purposely say things that's inflammatory toward a certain group in efforts to get you to interact and respond to the content. and efforts to boost views. It's about forming some kind of clickbaiting. And it's to catch you slipping. If you're not privy to people taking advantage of the algorithm, because the algorithm is picking up that the content is getting views and not understanding that it's hate content, because they seem to reward those who put out the content knowing it's inflammatory content, while punishing those who respond to the content with hate speech. And that's why I say these internet streets, you have to protect your energy, family. That's the moral of this, because these platforms choose views over moral ethics. If a content has 1 million views and you're contesting that content, then your comment will get banned, because views equal revenue. Any interaction is a good action, even if the video offends you. So you have to understand the psychology of that, because it's almost like a dopamine. You understand what I'm saying? Where you know something is bad for you, but you can't help to respond because something in your spirit doesn't sit well. And that's what this is all about. It's about controlling your energy, taking your energy and making it obsolete or counterproductive, to get you to take something as powerful as your personal time and making it useless. I mean, how many times have we sat on the internet for hours reading useless material, or watching useless videos, or watching someone's useless life? And I don't want to put it in a way that's inflammatory, but sometimes many of us put out things on the internet that's not really our lives. It's a figment of our imagination. So I wanted to give you guys an example of how even I got caught up in time wasting, energy consumption material, and that's why I said you got to protect your energy, man, out here. It's so many things that's pulling at your energy, so many people pulling at your energy, even in your personal lives. It could be your own family sometimes. It could be your friends. It could be folks at your job. People just don't care. They just want a piece of your energy and don't want to return any, at least positive energy, back. So it's very important. If we're going to be the source of everyone's energy for everybody to pull, then there has to be energy being put back into us. So either you're finding productive things to do, either you're working out, either you're reading. Read, family. I know it seems like reading is a lost art these days, man, but reading is so plentiful with energy, man. It gives you energy. I read all the time. I make sure I have a book that I'm reading every other month, because it gives me so much energy, because there's so much negative energy pulling, at me all the time, at work or, wherever, it's just negative energy. So find things that are very productive for you to do to maintain your energy, cooking, choosing a healthy diet, trying something different, fasting, is very good. Prayer is very good. Meditation is very good. These are things that can help you maintain your energy so that you have energy to give to the people that you love the most. And I'll leave it there, family. So protect your energy, limit your online interactions, because it's toxic as hell. And try to stay off those internet streets as much as possible. This is the Cotton Club Radio. I love all y'all. Peace, and holla at me.